Okay, so now we are live on YouTube. How about I set it up on my other computer as well so that we can stay in touch with our YouTube audience. Let's check. Are you all able to check? Are we there?
Yes.
We are.
You're there. We are there.
How awesome is that? It's so amazing to connect with people on YouTube.
Good morning, Neeta. Good morning, Shaina. Hi, Ganesh.
Good morning, Sushil.
Good morning, Sushil.
Morning, Sushil.
Lovina, the process to get in the meeting is become like very tedious. Today I faced a lot of issues. Do we need to register again?
No.
For every meeting? Then
I
probably
think,
the network issue.
It does. I think it does ask for registration every time. It's because we're expecting a new audience every time.
Okay,
obviously
obviously.
To join us. So yeah, maybe that's why it's asking. But I guess once you're registered, you shouldn't have to. Let me just check it again.
Today I did not register again.
You didn't register again?
No.
Then must be a network issue from my end.
Yeah, probably.
I received the option to register. So I don't know.
Great. Maybe we should wait only for a couple of minutes. And then I guess we can start. So how about by the time we wait for people to join, we just go back to, how was session 1, Shaina? You want to share what you felt about session 1? And what do you think this whole communication series is helping all of us with?
Thank you, Lavina, for that. For the opportunity to share my views. I feel that the series is helping a lot.
Yeah.
If I have to talk about myself, I have experience as a trainer for such a long time now, but still every session of ours is a learning. The first session that we had was full of activities. We've learned so much. And I feel that, when we talk about communication, like you said, it's all about getting into, a class, enrolling yourself for a communication skills training, and then working on your communication. But it's not like that. It's just while we speak and express our thoughts, it's communication. We're just communicating, we're expressing ourselves and talking. I think that's what I feel the series is all about, that making, life simpler. How can we make our lives simpler? So I think it's really helping everyone, including me.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Shaina. Really appreciate your thoughts there. Neeta, what about you? While we wait for a couple of more people, you want to share with us what you think this series is going to help with, and is it helping? The first two, the sessions that we did were, I felt they were very interesting. We got some very interesting responses. So I felt they were really nice. What about you, Neeta? What are your thoughts?
I was about to say this, that the sessions were very interesting. Shaina did cover that whenever you attend such sessions, there is a learning. So you learn something or the other, and that's the best thing. So it's always good that you meet new set of people. So you learn new things from them. And then accordingly, you can implement whatever suits you to the situation when you work or maybe in your personal life. So yes, these sessions are very helpful.
That's fantastic. How about on our YouTube? Should we check with our YouTube audience? We have people who've already started watching us on YouTube. Guys, what do y'all think? Do you think these sessions are helping? Are you able to hear something new that you did not know earlier and you're getting to know those now? I would also want to know, are y'all going back and practicing what y'all are learning? That's another one that I would love to know. How about you, Sushil? Did ethos, pathos, and logos help you during the week? Did it help you?
Sushil, you're on mute.
Yes, small mistakes does happen. Hi, Sujata. So I was about to complete the assignment that you had given, the practical application of that ethos, pathos, and logos.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm pronouncing wrong. And I think the last session was a complete value addition, because it was like knowing the different dimension on the communication.
Correct.
Just not from that one idea, that sharing the thoughts and reaching out to the listener. That's it, in a most efficient way. But ethos, pathos, and logos certainly makes an impact in public speaking domain.
Yeah.
That is what, and it was a discovery basically, because though it was existing over there, but not known to many.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably it was a discovery for me, and inquisitive also, because you kept us thinking, what is that? What is that? What is that?
Yeah.
So that is, I think, the toothpaste advertisement,
Yeah.
the Mastercard advertisement. So we were so easily bullied by the advertisers by using this ethos, pathos, and so not bullied in the sense, but sometimes like using those ethos, pathos effectively to convince the customer. So persuasion skills is very well explained basis on this ethos, pathos, and logos. This is what I feel.
Thank you, Sushil. Thank you. That is super helpful. Thank you so much. It's great. Today we have another really amazing session. It's a topic that's very, very close to my heart. It's it's a very encouraging, very engaging topic. Again, something that we do every day, but we don't realize that we're doing it every day, and we're doing it all the time. So we have another very exciting topic that we've brought to you today. But you know what? This topic is going to be really, really good. It's going to be effective only if all of us participate. Okay? If all of us think and instantly answer. Okay? So every time there's an activity that we launch, we don't have to wait and think. We have to instantly reply, instantly answer. That's when this is going to be super fun. Okay, everybody, should we start then? Because today we aim to end by 12. And if we start on time, we'll end up finishing on time, right? So in an hour, about an hour, we should be able to get done today. So how about we start? So I want to introduce to you our trainer for today, and that's Ganesh. Hi, Ganesh.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much, Lavina.
Good morning, Ganesh.
Morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Ganesh. Good morning.
So Ganesh is going to be taking us, I'm not going to tell you what the topic is, okay? How about we have Ganesh evolve and get us into the topic, yeah? But it's an exciting session. I hope you all are going to stay engaged, and I do request all of you to keep answering, whether, on Zoom, unmute yourself and answer, or use chat on YouTube and answer there. It'll be great fun. So over to you, Ganesh.
Thank you so much, Lavina. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hope it's an amazing Sunday morning for all of you. We are fully pumped up for the series. Thank you so much, first of all, for being here. Thank you so much for giving us all the encouragement that we needed. Thank you so much for supporting us. And with that, we help you to ensure that whatever fear we have of when we say the moment we say communications training, everyone thinks, oh, this is going to be a lot of concept, there's going to be a lot of English thrown at us. We wish to evolve from that and go on to a more inclusive experience where everyone gets to share their ideas with us, right? And everyone participates and ensures that we break down communications training to actually what it's supposed to be. That is basically conversing with each other on a day-to-day basis, right? What we intend to do is to make sure that we keep communications training as natural as possible, right? And with that, what we will do is we will look at something that comes organically to every one of us. We've been doing it since the time we've been born. We've started, not even speaking for that matter, the moment we've started communicating, and humans have been doing it for a very, very long time. And with that, I would like to dwell upon something, some of the aspects of the power of stories, right? Now, so when we say about power of stories, I would not want this to be only a conceptual training. I would want all of you to participate. You can participate. YouTube audience can participate through the chat. People who are on Zoom can unmute yourself. I'd love if you can unmute yourself and then share your inputs with us. And you can also chat with us on the chat box. However, we want it to be a very participative, very immersive, very inclusive kind of a session. And with this session, we would want you to grow more confident with your communications and the way you interact with people on a day-to-day basis, right? So today's topic for the series would be the power of stories, or the art of storytelling, right? With me, everyone? Great. So what we'll do is, we as humans, we as living organisms have been communicating with each other, with or without a language, for a very long time. Since the beginning of time, humans have communicated with each other. It could have been sign language. It could have been some sort of a dialect that we do not know. We do not know right now. And then we gradually evolved onto more complex languages spoken across the world, right? But what has connected us all together is the way we narrate our experiences with our friends, with our colleagues, with our family, with strangers for that matter, right? Strangers who then, with the power of stories, go on to become good friends, family, relatives. Yes? So when I speak about stories, I would want you to think about it for some time and tell us, what is it of storytelling, or what is it that you love about stories? All right. Because I think that everyone is a natural storyteller. Yes, with me, everyone? Okay. So what we'll do is, to start off with, I would want you guys to narrate a few incidents or few anecdotes from your life, okay, which you feel have been a lasting memory, and it's something that you can easily recall, right? So I would want you to suggest that. So say if I were to ask any one of you, say if I were to ask you, Shaina, what would be the most interesting or the most gratifying thing that you have come across in your experience in training over these years? What would that be?
Thank you, Ganesh. Being a trainer, there are a lot of inspirations from students that we get, knowing them, getting to know their life, their backgrounds, and then, when they join sessions, the experiences that they go through, there are a lot of things. If I have to stick to one story, so as I'm part of Guru School, I had a batch in which there was one student trainer. We call them student trainers. So this trainer was speech impaired. Okay. Yes. And he was nominated by his organization. So he was there in the session with an interpreter. He used to sit in the corner, and she used to sit along, and he used to look at me, and his attention would be like this, diagonal. So I'm standing in front, and I had to literally go very, very slow so that he's able to understand. And the transformation that I saw initially, obviously he had a lot of challenges. She had challenges when he was trying to express himself, and later on, believe me, he did a session on his own without an interpreter.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And he did it that way so that we can understand. He used the board, he used the, videos and stuff like that. And then he expressed himself. So that's the confidence that, and looking at that passion of his to do it all by himself actually motivates us, right? We have the power of voice. We can express ourselves, but he doesn't. But look at the transformation, and look at the, eagerness to learn something that probably he may use or he might not use in his career. But he was there to change others' lives. And most of the trainers out there were actually trainers of, differently able kids. So that was a wonderful journey. And I really want to take this opportunity to thank Lavina, for selecting me for that project. So thank you so much, Lavina. that has actually inspired me a lot, and brought a lot of change that we bring to someone's life. So
no,
yeah,
Shaina, this is one of the stories that even I remember as one of the first set of batches or groups of trainings that we did at Guru School, and the kind of impact that this one trainer made on all of us when we thought that probably this one's not going to be able to train, or how will they train, how can someone like that train, but they changed the whole perspective around. And yeah, that's one of the stories that even I will remember for times to come. Thanks, Shaina.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Shaina. Thank you so much, Lavina. And it is indeed amazing the way we've started this out with such a gratifying story. And it's the power of belief, right? It's the power of belief, even when you do not know a language, when you do not know a certain set of words, and you still come across and express yourself. And here we are. We as people sometimes fear speaking in public because of what we perceive as our limited set of vocabulary. And to come across an experience as such, it will be so empowering to everyone, right? It indeed puts a lot of perspective into your mind about what we are doing as a human being, right? So thank you so much for that, Shaina. I think it set the mood for the entire journey that we'll have in this session, right? So let's also move on to someone else who would want to narrate an incident that has probably changed their lives or affected them in a positive way. It could be a negative way as well, right? Stories are not only good. They're not only good. They do not always come with a protagonist. They do not have a Lavina, or they do not have a trainer with a special set of abilities somewhere, right? There are always the antagonists as well, right? So it's how we perceive a story. So I would want someone else to narrate it as well. Sushil, Janani, Neeta, can all share your inputs about how something has affected you in a positive or a negative way, or not so good way.
Yeah, thank you, Ganesh. Certainly, we do have many stories from our training experience, but I'd appreciate. I would request Neeta. So then I'll share my story.
So Neeta, if I were to ask you, what would be the most challenging bit of your role as a professional across these 17 years? What would that be?
Okay, thank you for asking this question to me. Okay, so if you ask me what was challenging, there are a couple of incidents which were, I would agree that they were challenging. So when I was a part of the wireless group, I was a part of Reliance Wireless Group. So we were managing India customers. So all CDMA and GSM mobile users, they used to call all our executives. Okay, so I was a trainer for that process. So we used to get people from all over India, not only from Mumbai. So Mumbai being our head office, we were operating from Mumbai, but we used to get people from all over India. So our HR team used to go to different places, and then they used to have that interview drive, and then we used to get those people on board. So I have an interesting incident to share. When I joined in, when I was in induction, the entire batch was from South. Okay. And I think we had about 4 to 5 people from Mumbai and about 105 guys from South. Okay. So it was real difficult, believe me. Their language was, we used to hardly interact because there was a language barrier. So all those guys, they used to speak in their mother tongue or English, and their English was, I would say, South Indian accent was there, MTI, heavy MTI. So that was real challenging for me. Okay, but then slowly and gradually we became friends. So we used to try and communicate in a language wherein we understand each other. We used to use sign languages. We used to write down, and then we used to talk. So slowly and gradually, these guys, they learned tuta futa Hindi, and we used to communicate. So that was interesting. I would not say that was challenging, but that was interesting. So I learned a lot there. And after becoming a trainer, this helped me, since we used to get people from all over the places. Language was an issue. So communicating in English with them was a challenge. So we used to speak in Hindi, we used to try and speak in their own language. So I learned a lot there. So yeah, that's interesting. I used to love that, because when you want to communicate with people, you try and find out options to communicate. You make stories, you use sign language. So I used to use board. So yeah, uh, I still remember those days. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Neeta. See, again, another incident where there has been some sort of a barrier in communication, but that has not restricted the learning process, the process of getting to know each other, right? So imagine we as trainers, we think that, and people perceive training as to be where someone goes in and teaches a lot and gives a lot of download, enlightens people. But the kind of learning that we get every day from our learners, from our trainees, from our students is something that we cherish for the rest of our lives, right? Exactly. All right. So I think Vijay, would you want to narrate an incident?
Thank you, Ganesh. Sorry for late joining in.
That's all right. It's never too late.
Yes. So I was being part in this industry. It's almost, for me, it's almost 19 years into the training and L&D and service industry. So I just want to share once. It's not a story. It's a incidents which literally changed my perception towards the students' mindset. Everything. So I was talking about, like, I was into the service industry, and I had to train some people on the customer care, I mean, how to receive, how to interact with the customer when they pitch into any kind of stores. So if it's a non, like, I was got a opportunity to train two, you can say the physically disabled, or you can say the two persons are partially blind. It's like one was partially blind and one was completely blind from birth. So for me, it was a big challenge, and I trained for them for 2 months. And it's like, while teaching, I came to know so many facts from them regarding how you perceive the things. Like while giving them training, they to hold my hands, and to receive a guest or receive a customer into kind of store, they have actually a spa and retail store. So they to have them gestures and everything. So to give the training, they to hold my hand. By holding my hand, that one part, that the person who was completely blind, he used to take my emotions into his thoughts. And by reading my emotions, he said, "Sir, today you are feeling better. I think today you are not in so good mindset or something that, but today you are very depressed or something. What happened that?" So by interacting with them, I came to know there are 3 people in this world who instantly connected by touching. Like one was, he only told, one was elephant. If you hold elephant trunk, the elephant will come to know that what kind of emotions the particular person is going on. Second is the horse. Like if you hold a horse, and horse is the one animal who can able to narrate or see the emotions going through it. And it was third person is like, we are like you can say physically disabled people who can come to the sixth sense, and we can come to know that facts. So that was completely changed my mindset, and today I was happy for them. After getting trained, they were into they are from Gujarat, so they went to Ahmedabad, and right now they are well established. They actually into the store, they have their own retail store. They are working fine. So I keep on touch with them. But this stories, like this life changing stories, always will be there. That's thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Vijay. It was really insightful. It was really amazing to know how people with different set of abilities or specially enabled people are able to converse in such a natural manner. And sometimes things that we do not perceive are possible as well, right? Having said that, so what we've done is we've looked at the power of the way people get to interact with each other through language, through their own language, through a different set of languages that they have expertise in, right?
So Ganesh, I want to just share one incident, if
Yes,
you allow me. I will keep myself short due to time constraint. An incident happened when I became a skill development trainer. I come from a corporate background. So my first job in skill development sector with ICICI, I had to take the roll calls every day. Okay, this person, this person.
Right.
So I was taking the roll calls. I found one name very strange, Tezab or something like that. Okay, Tezab and surname. So I used to wonder, how can parents keep such name of a son like a Tezab? Tezab means acid or something. And I was wondering, and he was also like saying, yes, sir. So he accepted his name as a Tezab. After 4 or 5 days, he came back to me and said, my name is not Tezab. My name is Tejas. Well, what the hell happened to you? Why didn't you come early? So I was also surprised. Tezab, how can somebody's name be Tezab? I mean, it's such a negative name. And you are also accepting your attendance, replying yes. So that is the incidents I remember as a funny incidents, apart from many more, which gave me a lot of intuition and learnings, like Vijay. Cow is also another animal which shares the emotions with the owner.
Yes.
Yeah, and it exhales the oxygen and inhale the oxygen and exhale the oxygen. That's the only animal.
That's great. Sushil, is actually, right? How could someone name their kid Tezab unless they want him to grow up and become probably like a Don or someone, right? Suddenly you go back and think about your old 90s Bollywood movies, isn't it? Like a dreaded villain named Tezab. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that incident, Vijay. Sorry, Sushil. And thank you so much everyone for sharing that incident. So we are all storytellers, aren't we? We don't think about it much, but we narrate stories. Now, what all you told me were all stories. In your own way, you narrated an incident that happened some time back, and you brought us back in that same moment once again. Every time you spoke about something, we could envision it, couldn't we? Right? So that is the power of stories. So it gets you engaged, it keeps you observant, right? And it helps you participate as well. Okay, let's look at certain things that as a storyteller, what are certain things that people use storytelling for, or why do people tell stories, right? There are certain things that stories are used for. One is sharing knowledge, right? You can share different cultures. So like Neeta narrated an incident where people from different cultures came together, even with the barrier of language. They communicated with each other. They got to know about our culture. We got to know about their culture from what happens or how people are down south. So we got to know a lot about their culture. We shared knowledge. We learned a lot of lessons. Okay, there are a lot of values that we've learned from, especially from stories that you narrated about people with special abilities, with people who come from varied backgrounds. So we had a lot of values being shared. There's a lot of lessons that we as trainers, we as facilitators, we as professionals learned from those people. We connected with the audience, okay, through stories. Like Neeta said, we wrote stories, we narrated stories to communicate our feelings, our thoughts. We held hands to share our emotions, to get people's emotions. So it helps connect the audience. It helps break barriers between audience of different varied cultures. And then again, there's a need for entertainment as well, isn't it? Who doesn't love a good entertaining story? You'll hardly come across someone who would say, "Nahi yaar, I don't want to listen to a story. You know what? Show me a PPT. You know what? Give me a text to read." Right? Even when we read books, so if it could be Harry Potter, it could be Aragon, there are a lot of stories that are there. There could be Sherlock Holmes. Even when we read stories, we still want to watch them on television. We go back to it time and again because they tell us stories, and stories keep us captivated. Stories stick with us over and over years. That moment may pass, but the memory of that moment stays with us. Yes, with me, everyone? So
Ganesh,
yes,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, I would also like to just add on that,
yes,
we have grown up listening to stories from our grandparents, from our parents. That's how, as kids, we've learned our own culture.
correct.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
We are
absolutely.
actually stuck to the culture or Indian culture or religious culture, whichever culture
Right.
that we talk about.
Yes.
From the stories is, what, and we also been practicing it. I remember Sujata saying that we're doing it, but we don't know that, we're actually following our culture.
Absolutely.
So Ganesh, if I have to add here, when you talk about these bullet points, share knowledge and culture, it comes from our mythological stories about different cultures that we have followed and all those stuff right from the childhood when my granny used to sit and explain about it. Okay. And then we talk about the values which comes from Panchatantra stories. It was so interesting when we used to travel to our native. So we had all those books of Champa, Panchatantra, and we used to learn out of this moral science, which was taught us in the school. And the best storyteller today, I would say, is our grandparents. They used to connect us even when they used to tell us a small story, and they never got a formal training, right? Today we talk about storytelling as a part of communication, but they never got a formal training, but they still connected us to their stories, their experiences. And that was so entertaining. And even today we remember what they have spoken. My granny used to say that, for a quarter paisa, they used to actually buy gold, and how much the gold they used to buy in South, the gold is like a crazy stuff, right? So how they used to wear different kinds of gold every day, and they get decked up and ready in the morning. So I still remember the story. And now I'm grown up at my granny, I've grown up, but I still remember my granny's story. So these are some things which really connect. And I think even at a workplace also, there are a lot of situations like Neeta has explained. She remembered way back, like Sushil has spoken about, or Vijay has spoken about. It's like way back stories they have connected here now. So these things remember, keep us remembering the beautiful situations that we have come across, or maybe some negative situations which made us positive. I think, storytelling is extremely great in communication.
Yes.
Darshana has also narrated her story.
Oh, is it?
Yes, on YouTube. She has a long story.
Yes, Shaina, why don't you read it out? Why don't you read it out and tell our audience what Darshana's story is as well?
All right. So I'll read it for everyone.
Yes, please.
So Darshana says, I still remembered that day when I was searching for my job opportunity. That time I have completed my industrial project, and after that I started to search new opportunity. I gave lots of interviews but got rejected, and then I found the vacancy on Work India app. I gave interview on 4th August 2019. I still remember I had not given proper and correct answer of any question because that was theory question. The interviewer gave me one more chance and asked me again for interview after 2 days. She told, come with proper preparation, we'll give you second chance. I've gone to my place and noted down all those questions she was asked and found answers of that with proper examples. And after 2 days, I went for second chance. And guess what? She never asked me anything because she was impressed with my confidence, communication, and passion to find all things. Immediately, I got hired as intern, and I learned lots of things just because she gave me chance. I'm so grateful that moment when someone gave you chance, not just by theory or practice knowledge, but because your own skills. I've shared this story in some parts because in live chat there is word limits. I hope you can understand. Yes. Thank you so much.
What is beautiful about your story, Darshana, is because you had one such great experience. That means that when you come in the place of the interviewer, and God bless you, and someday you should get into that place of the interviewer, when you meet people who you are interviewing, you will also give them the same chance, and you will also spread the same positivity to everybody else, whoever you interview, because you know that this is the one story that is in your mind, and this is the one experience that you love. So naturally, you will end up spreading the same experience with others as well. So beautiful. Loved it. Thank you, Darshana.
Thank you so much for that, Darshana. Lavina, if I have your permission, I'd also want to narrate a similar kind of an incident.
Yeah, absolutely. Please go ahead.
This is what happened with me a month or so back. I was attending an interview, and here I was sitting in a hospital ward because my wife had just undergone an operation, and I was sitting in a hospital ward, but I knew that I had to give an interview. And I joined the interview, and I have two people in the panel. And the first question that I ask is, what do you know about, what I get asked is, what do you know about our organization? And I had gone in prepared with a lot of things to speak about, a lot of things that I had prepared as as points to keep for the interview or for the questions that I would raise. One thing that I forgot in all in between all the chaos was, what was the organization that I was interviewing for, and what is the background, right? And then I get asked this question. The first question I get asked is this, and I get bowled over. I get clean bowled in the first question itself, and I start stammering. Thank God, thank my lucky stars that the internet conked off, the internet crashed, and I had to reconnect. And when I reconnected, I came back with a little more confidence about what I knew about the organization, right? What I had read on the internet, but that was quite basic. And then the interview went on, and at the end, someone told me that because they kept that incident in mind, they kept that first question in mind, and they came back and told me, what we want you to do is go ahead and prepare a small presentation on what our organization is all about. And then you can take a couple of days, you can come back to us, you can probably have a PPT, you can do a word sheet, whatever you want, and then you can come back to us, right? And I was so thankful for that opportunity, because if someone had judged me on the basis of that particular interview of those 20 minutes, they would have said rejected, straight reject, right? And then I went and researched about the organization in detail. I created a PowerPoint. I was hoping that they like it. I was hoping that it's a chance of redemption. And then I go ahead and I presented. They loved it, thankfully. And they were particularly happy about the fact that I did so much research about not only the positives and also about the areas of improvement. And then I got asked a question is, why do you want to join EduBridge? Right? So I got asked that question, and I said the reason I created this PowerPoint is basically why I want to join EduBridge. And the last slide speaks about why I want to join the organization, is because I see that there is a culture that the organization has, and there are certain areas of improvement that we could focus on and we could improve on it. And that's where I come in, and I want to help the organization do that, right? So thank you so much for the opportunity, Lavina. Lavina was the person who asked me to do that. Thank you so much for giving me that second chance. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to redeem my...
You've brought about such a beautiful point, Ganesh, because in a story, this takes me to that one very important point. In a story, there are always two aspects. Not only is Ganesh going to remember this story, but also me. So when I go back and when I think about that entire episode, I'm going to remember it as well. And I'm also going to talk about it the very same way that Ganesh spoke about it, right? So what does storytelling tell you, and what is it? What is storytelling in effect? It is nothing but us sharing, talking. We do this every day. Remember when we started, I said we do this every day. Every day we share our experiences, we share our feelings, we share a story with each other about how life is, how life was, how work is, how work was. And we communicate this every single day. But we still feel we don't know how to communicate.
Exactly.
We still feel, oh, but I am not a very good communicator. You know, so many people in their weaknesses. So, you know, when they ask you strengths and weaknesses, so many people who I know, they say, good communication skills is my weakness. And I always spend time telling them, but no, I feel you're a fantastic communicator because you're talking to me. You tell me every day, I didn't do this because. and I did this because. And guess what? Both the becauses are stories.
Exactly.
So, Lavina
Right?
and Ganesh, I have a question here. So, we talk about communication in general, right? So, why, like, communication is all about listening, talking, conversing with each other, and so on. So, why storytelling is a part of communication, and how is that going to help me at workplace? So, there are like couple of questions that keeps coming in mind. So, I'm sure others would have this question in mind.
Love that question, Sujata. And when we go on to the next slide, you're going to know exactly that. Love that question.
Thank you so much for that question. Thank you so much for the to the YouTube audience for sharing your stories through the chats. I would love for you to share more of your stories. Unfortunately, we can't hear you. So this is another mode where you tell us our stories and then we try to read them out as much as possible. Yes? So why storytelling is what Sujata asked, right? Why not storytelling is my question. Why not storytelling, right? Storytelling is something that comes organically to each and every one of us. We narrate stories almost every day about our experiences, about a certain incident, about a certain place that I visited. Okay, I walk into a party, I barely know anyone. I walk into a meeting, I barely know anyone. I walk into an interview, I barely know anyone. How do I start conversing? I start talking about an incident, right? It's a great way to start a conversation. So it could be as simple as you walk into an interview and someone asks you how did you get to get to the interview today? How did you get to work today? Right? It could be a very simple conversation. It could be a very good way to start a conversation. You can narrate your experiences. People share their experiences. People share their concepts with us through stories. Okay, and what stories organically do, so stories inadvertently do, is create a vision, a picture in your mind. When you hear a story, you can see a scene folding out in front of you in your brain, right? So that's why storytelling. Okay,
So,
people.
Ganesh, to add to what you're saying and to be able to answer Sweta's question also. So, how does storytelling help us at our workplace or in our day-to-day jobs, right? This is exactly how it helps us. Sometimes we fear, let's say we're in the training team or if you talk to somebody in the placement team and you're afraid, but I don't even know that guy. What am I going to talk to that guy about? So storytelling is a great way to connect with somebody in the opposite team. When we tell a story, let's say I'm from training and I want to talk to somebody who's, in let's say the finance team. Okay, and I want to tell them about, you know what, I need to achieve or I need to get a trainer's salary paid out. Okay, and I want to connect with the finance team. Now, how does storytelling really help you? Helps you to make conversations. I don't know this person in the finance team, but I want to talk to him and I want to tell him to pay out a particular trainer's salary, right? So what do? I go to the guy and I say, hi, my name is Lubina, and I wanted to discuss with you today about this trainer's salary who's not got paid, and I think that there is some mistake, right? So I have my subject. My subject is that I want to talk about the trainer's salary. Then I have a story around it. I feel that, when we were sending the IFSC code and the bank account number, I think there was a number mismatch. By mistake, the trainer's given another number, and so the salaries got rejected. It's not gone through. What is the process? How can I go ahead and get it again? Guess what? This entire piece is nothing but a story. It's communicating. It's me asking somebody, that somebody being a part of my story. All of this is storytelling. So what does storytelling really help you with at work? One, it helps you to talk to the other person. It helps you to discuss, ask questions, right? And solutions. Take solutions. You can ask people for solutions. You can give people solutions. this whole process is storytelling. Then why are we afraid, Shraddha? Why do you think we're afraid?
Yeah, it also avoids miscommunication or going back and forth on the same issues again and again. Right.
Perfect. Perfect. In an email, you can't write stories because emails are written form of communication. You got to write shorter emails, right? But when you pick up the phone and you talk to somebody, you can solve that much faster because you're telling a story.
Yeah.
Yes? With me, everybody? Sushil, you wanted to add something, is it? You raised your hand.
Oh, thank you, Lavina. Actually, there is one concept called multiple intelligence. Of course, the one intelligence is always dominant in every person, but every bit of other intelligence is there in every human being. So what I feel as like storytelling also is one of the part of that communication, which can be effective from that multiple intelligence concept point of view, wherein you are trying to teach someone through a storytelling or trying to explain someone the point you want to, maybe in a concise manner, to the particular person. So that makes the story very effective. Like Sujata mentioned about Panchatantra. If I ask you what was the purpose of that Panchatantra book or stories, was to train the son of king who were not into that particular other intelligence they could understand from. So the trainer himself understood to train them through a stories like the lion and the mouse story. Do not underestimate anyone kind of a thing. So the kind of administration that the king wanted to achieve through the training for his son, that was achieved through these stories. So I think it's very effective in day-to-day life. Also, you can concise many concepts by narrating a story rather than going a long way to, like Sujata mentioned, going forth and come back again. So that I think you can zip in the many things by using the storytelling art.
Even I feel, during meetings, when we are presenting something, when we are putting forth a project, or, how we are going to, what we look forward to do in a particular project, it's all about expressing our thoughts, right? So we're just connecting to various situations or stories and then putting it across.
Yes.
That's
Even
exactly
I am
what...
able to. Sorry.
Yes, go ahead,
Yes,
Jan.
Janani.
Yes, Jan.
Even I am able to relate it something like, we are telling stories as a daily day-to-day training practice, but we don't realize that we are actually telling stories. Say, for example, if I have to go and tell a concept, I don't right away start with the concept, right? I tell like, suppose you're coming here, you're given this, and you're supposed to do this. Say what you're going to do. Then they'll be thinking. Then I go and tell them the fact, which makes them interesting, and then they listen to me. So it is again coming back to the point where we do this, but we don't realize that we are doing this actually. Yeah.
That's perfectly how we summarize that. We all say stories, we all narrate stories every day in our office lives, in our corporate lives as well. It could be something as simple as checking why my salary has not been processed, why this particular person has not been selected. It could be anything. We subconsciously narrate our incidents, okay, which are basically stories for everyone to see. Right, so that's how corporate storytelling helps a lot, or storytelling in corporates helps a lot. Sujata, I hope that these incidents or these anecdotes that people have shared help you answer that question.
Yes, absolutely.
I have a question
Yes,
for Sujata.
Vijay had.
Oh, you have a question for me?
Yeah.
Sushil?
Okay.
Okay.
You mentioned that our grannies are the best storytellers. Why?
Yes. Yeah, that's what I told. They are like, they connect audience. They give. It's very simple when they describe any situation.
Yeah.
Because
they add a lot of values, and there's a lot of learning when they talk about this. They give the storytelling, or they explain the stories, I think.
I would also like to back up Sujata here. Once you hear a story from your granny, same story you hear it from someone else, you won't like it.
Yes.
That's the best way to find who's the best storyteller there.
Yeah. So you can become a great storyteller if you can tell story like a granny, because it's very difficult to keep that audience steady. If you're telling a story, you can try out at your home. Probably Shaina can relate with Ashu. It's very difficult to keep them steady.
What a take on it. Well, our grandparents grew up in a time where there were not many modes of communication, right? the only way people could interact or view something happening was in person, or if someone had written down the incident. Today we have social media, we go on to a lot of pages and Google stuff up, and then we narrate stories how someone else has seen it, someone else has perceived it. But our grandparents experienced most of these things, because so when they tell a story, when they narrate a story, it comes from a first-hand experience, and that's why it's so effective. It's ingrained in our brains for such a long time. It's ingrained in our memories for such a long time, because it is that impactful, because they experienced it as a person.
You know,
So it could be something as
think about it, Sushil, the reason why we say grandma, granddad, or we say our stories to our kids. I say this to my son all the time, beta, teri mummy ne math nahi padha tha, bachche, tu math pad le. You need it in life. You know, so every experience that I have gone through, or let's say everything that we go through in our daily lives, we're actually talking about it with everybody, with everyone who we come across. And but that time we don't realize that we're doing storytelling. But you know, we communicating that is helping the opposite person to understand our mindset, why we are saying what we're saying, why are we feeling what we are feeling, and so how should the opposite person react or reciprocate, and what is the part that they will play in our story. My son's part will now be, Mama didn't learn math, but I should, because it's going to help me. You understand? That's how stories interplay with each other every single day. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Over to you, Ganesh.
Irrespective of the age, I would say everybody loves listening to stories.
Yes.
The moment you in the class, when you say, you know, do you love stories? Do you want to hear a story? And everybody raises hands. So I think, yes.
I'd like to contradict here, China. Bosses don't like to listen to stories.
Yeah.
Vijay had to share an incident.
No, you know, I actually beg to disagree. It's not that bosses don't like to hear a story. I think they like to listen to the story,
Meaningful.
which gives direct solutions or gives direct answers.
Yeah.
So art of storytelling is also very important.
Yes.
How do you say a story that the opposite person agrees to and takes and listens and accepts? You understand? That's the art. How you say it is what matters.
Completely agree, Lavina.
True.
Not a Vijay has been wanting to say something for a long time. Sorry, Vijay. Yes.
Okay.
Please.
Yeah, Ganesh. Thank you, Ganesh. Ganesh, whenever I teach my learners everything, when we take this topic of communication or something like, when it comes to non-verbal communication, what we see, I don't know whether normally I give examples of some old movies, old Hindi movies, because I'm a big fan of old Bollywood movies. Maybe I always give example of the movie called as Koshish. Koshish is like, it was like concept based on one person who's deaf. His wife is dumb, deaf and dumb, and there is one more third person, he's a blind. So all three were together, and that concern is like played by Sanjeev Kumar, Jai Bachchan was there, and Om Chudpuri was there. It's a very old movie under CP production. So I always give this example to my students to go and watch this movie. It's a beautiful movie about communication, how to is like communication helps in substituting the light in the life. So that is what I want to share.
Very nice.
That's nice.
Let's watch movie.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And if someone could also read out if something has come on YouTube, that'll be great. If our learners from YouTube want to share something, that also be great. All right. So on that note, we spoke about how people with no proper language, or who do not have the ability to speak, or children for that matter, narrate stories. Even children narrate stories, right? With that in mind, I want to show you this beautiful video. That is something that I think is a powerful message of how storytelling does not need a proper language, a proper set of words. It could just be pure emotions. Please let me know if you're able to view the screen, and please let me know if you're able to hear this. Okay. Are you able to hear it? Can you hear it?
We can, but can't
Do you
see.
understand it though?
No.
Can you see the screen?
No,
We
the
can
last.
see
Not
the
yet.
last
No,
screen.
last.
Not yet.
Just one moment.
Yeah.
Are you able to see my screen now? Can you see
Yes.
the screen now? Or
Yeah.
let's listen into this. Yeah.
Okay. They need to work on that, right? Yes. Okay. Did you understand it though? No. Okay. All right. Huh? Oh, no, not this one. This is the grand finale of this. Yeah, that's the last one. That's what I was wondering. I don't know what they're gonna do next season because they did some stuff this time. Exactly what I was thinking. Oh yeah. Right. Don't bring that again. You know what I'm saying? Don't do the same stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah. Yeah. Like go somewhere else with that, but don't bring it here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what I said. And then it was like, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, what in the world? But don't do that here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Really? I thought the same thing. We think a lot alike, huh? Oh, that's crazy. Right.
Wonderful.
How was that? Did you like it?
Very
Please
nice.
share
Very
your
nice.
comments through YouTube. Please share it in the chat.
What else, bro? Like, look, you are crazy when you be saying that to me.
I think they started. Okay. All right. Did you guys enjoy that video?
Yes.
Right. It's such a
Yes.
nice way where you see people who do not have words and they're conversing. A child is trying to share its experience. It does not have a proper language, a proper construct of as such, but they're still sharing emotions. They're sharing incidents, right? And that's the power of storytelling. That kid right there, subconsciously has just narrated a story out of just actions and certain sounds that it has created. It's not, you cannot call it a language, can we?
It was gibberish. Yeah.
Right? It was gibberish. The kid was just babbling, and there was a beautiful story that came out of it.
What is the story that you will say out of this video? Jeffrey, what about you? What is the story that you will say? You saw this video. What is the story that you will tell about it?
I will say that, the father was trying to, boost the kids' communication there. Whatever you say, I'll respond you. I'm there to listen what you speak. I'm there to, encourage you more is what I perceived out of it. Yeah. The father was telling the story. That is what it's my point of view there.
Yes.
Absolutely right. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think the father is the one who made it into a story. It could have been just the kid sitting there and talking all gibberish, all babbling on the sofa, and no one would have paid attention to him. But the dad made it a point to ensure that he motivates, he encourages the child to speak and to converse, to communicate. Right? So that is something that storytelling does. It encourages people to participate, to share their own ideas, to share their views about stuff. Yes?
Yes.
So that's precisely why we wanted you to watch that. Lovina, you wanted to add something to that?
I just wanted to tell you that stories need not really just be words. They could also be emotions. They could also just be feelings. They could also be between people who cannot talk, also say stories. I don't know how many of you have seen this movie, Khamoshi. It features Nana Patekar and I forget the name of the lead female cast.
Manisha Koirala, Salman Khan.
Yeah, if you remember that movie, you will realize that movie focuses on deaf and dumb. But imagine, guess what? Even in India, there was a movie by the name of Pushpak.
Oh,
which was totally mute. There was nothing, there were no words. But that whole movie is a story. If you were to just watch that story, you will be able to see the experience of that guy throughout the movie. So why is it then that we are afraid to communicate? When we've been doing it from the time that we were kids. If today I'm not able to do a class, if I'm not able to come to work, I'm going to be talking to my boss and I'm going to be telling them, I'm not going to be able to work today because, right? If I haven't sent an email on time, then I am going to be telling my boss, I haven't sent that email on time because my boss gave me some work to do and I completed it on time, but I faced certain problems. So I want to explain to my boss that these are the things that I faced a problem with. And so this is why the report is the way that it is. So I'm going to end up saying, this is what I've done because, right? Guys, all of these are stories at work. Each and every part of what we're saying is stories at work. Now, when the kid and the dad could do it so easily, and we do it so easily with our families and our friends all the time, why is it so difficult at work? Yes? Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, Lovina, I have one uncle, Mr. Ashok. He has a son with not blessed with the speech abilities. Okay, so he grown up and got married to a girl. Obviously, she's supposed to be the same without speech ability. So one day I asked uncle, they are so lucky, they must not be fighting, isn't it? How can they fight? So he said, no, they fight on regular basis. Well, how can they fight when they can't speak? But no, they fight. So there I come to know whatever the husband wife are, they are meant to fight. So it doesn't mean that you have ability or do not have ability. You always express your emotions. So that was a funny incident. I really thought they must be lucky couple.
You know, bang on, Sushila. I love that. It's true. I need not listen. If my husband doesn't like my food and he doesn't eat it, I know that he's not liked it. If it's lying in the kitchen for some time, I know he's not liked it. Now, I don't want to go and tell him, you didn't eat the food. I know you've not liked it. I'll go into the kitchen and bang all the utensils for him to know I'm angry that that is also a story. Me getting angry all the time when he doesn't eat food. You see, all of these are stories.
But whether that's being communicated is a different story altogether.
Exactly. Totally. Yes, Ganesh.
Why he did not eat it is a different story altogether. The story that he constructs to ensure that he doesn't face the wrath of Lavina.
Yeah, totally. That's a different story. It's true. Yes.
Exactly. So
that again unravel one of the doubt between me and Shaina we had in Guru School offline. Does Lovina cook? So we got the answer. So we had a discussion. Does Lovina cook? So we got the answer now. Shaina, after a long time,
Finally, we got
finally.
Yeah.
She just answered your question. Her storytelling just answered your question. It's given you a solution to your question. All right.
We cannot directly ask them.
Oh, you can ask me the same thing in questions, in a story, in a conversation that we do.
Exactly.
Now we actually know, Lavina, how to ask.
Exactly. So now that we've spoken about the concept of why storytelling, what I want you to do is, there are certain aspects of a proper story or as to how a story should be placed that I've put down here. I would want you to take some time. I'll give you some time. Please look at any of these segments and write or note down a couple of sentences. And I want you to construct a story on the basis of this. And I would want each one of you to pick up one aspect out of this, out of the list of the things that I've mentioned here, and to keep your sentences prepared. So what we will do is we'll start with how a story should have, and it should have all these things: how you engage your audience, how you set the scene, how you create some sort of an emotion. Okay, so you can select whichever aspect you want to pitch in, where you want to pitch in rather, and add fun to the story. So we will do a storytelling relay right now. Yes? With me, everyone? Did everyone understand the concept of this? Sushil, I think you had a question.
No, I am ready with the story.
So what we would do is I will start out giving you a sentence that would probably engage you, and then from there we take it, and you guys can take 60 seconds. You can note it down, you can write it down, you can keep it typed on your chat pads, and then we will construct a story as we go by. So we start with engage your audience and we end with a grand finale, like every movie does or every story should. Yes? With me, everyone? Does anyone have any questions? People on YouTube, you have any questions? Can someone check? And I want people from YouTube to participate through their chat boxes as well. Okay. I'll say this again. We start in a sequential manner. Okay. We knew a story where the other person has ended that statement, and you get to be creative. You get to put, you take the story wherever you want as per your imagination. Right? Make sense, everyone? Would someone want to start, or do you want me to narrate? Do you want me to start an incident?
Pushra Sujata start. She gives some of the most surprising lines as a startup line. Huh, Sujata? You come up with a nice startup line.
All right, let's take 60 seconds and then think about it if we want to.
Yeah,
or do you want
to I think, yeah, it was like sudden.
Do you want to go right away? All right, great. Let's take 60 seconds, and I want all of you to note down at least one aspect of a segment.
Yeah, I remember this funny incident where this was the first time in 2003. I never traveled by flight. That was my first travel through flight, and that too directly getting into an international flight. So you can understand how panicking it was. I got into the Mumbai airport. I started banging with the trolley with the person who was just in front of me. I banged him twice, and then later on he gave me a spooky look, and I really said, sorry, this is the first time I'm traveling to USA, and I'm really nervous. So he was the one who helped me out throughout the check-in, the immigration process and everything. But I still remember, and that was not one incident. Once I got down at SFO, then again, when I was like, I have never seen in my life there's such a huge airport. And then I started pulling up my bag, and it was very difficult to pick the huge bag, right? Then I pulled the bag and hit a foreigner with that bag. And he said, wait. I'll help you out. And he didn't allow me to take my next bag. He helped me out to pick the bag. So these are some of the funny incidents that I had. Yeah, I guess.
Pick any one line on this, Sujata, and let's all of us add to your story.
I would like to add, I mean, since
Yes.
Sujata has
yeah, I think she already has a story, I guess.
I can
have a story.
And what we can do is let's put a number on the chat box, all right, in the sequence that you would want to go in, right? So Shaina goes first, she puts 1, and then Sushil, if you want to go, all right, Sushil. So Sujata, you want to start, and then Sujata would be 1, Shaina would be the 2nd, Sushil, you can be the 3rd, and then so on and so forth. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, my story, similar to, I mean, Sujata's, was like a Bollywood kind of underworld story. So I come from Abu Dhabi, and I'm alone traveling back and to the Calicut airport. And I mean, it is known for, all the the criminal stuff, getting some gold. So I had this emergency lamp. Now I'm waiting for my luggage. My suitcase is just going round and round. I do not recognize it. Thing is, I'm waiting. Everybody moves out, and I see only one bag which is going round and round. And it's like, is this mine? And there's a cross on it. I'm alone, in the lobby there, because all the passengers have moved out who had arrived with my, in the same flight. Finally, I take it and I see the name. It's my name. What I do is I take it, I put it on the trolley. I'm just moving, and there's a police standing, and he says, "Ma'am, ye aapka hai?" I said, "Haan, chaliye hamare saath." And he takes me to the corner, and they ask me, open the bag. He's like, Q, like there is something, there's an emergency. Now, usually emergencies have 2 batteries. And unfortunately, this had 3 batteries, which I have never opened because it was packed. We just bought it and I put it in the bag. Finally, they open it, they scan it throughout, in and out. They say that there are 3 batteries in it and you've smuggled something inside. I said, I have not. I have the bill and everything with me. It's there in the bag. You can see I just bought it from Lulu. That's all I know. There's nothing. So I took around 1 hour to move out after that incident because they kept checking my bag. So it was like a Bollywood movie underworld person who smuggled, and I'm standing there. So I had this weird experience. I mean, it was really I was actually frightened. I thought probably I'll get into the jail after that because that airport is known to have been doing such things. So for one minute, I felt, okay, I'm out. I'm just getting in the jail now and I'll be in the news. So that's my incident and experience that I share, inspired from Sujata's experience. Yeah, thank you.
Sushil, you want to take it from there?
Yeah, that is what I understood. So from Sujata's story, Shaina had to take it forward. Then from Shaina, I had to. But there are 2 different stories. Which story I can take it forward?
That's good.
I have a line which
I
can build up
the
story.
airport thing there.
Airport thing then. Yeah. So as
So
Sujata,
what you can do is you can add on to that. You can add another element to that story.
Yeah. I understood the entire instructions.
Great.
So yeah.
We all will participate together and build one line to the story, and we'll see how it turns out, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. I think as Sujata was very much panic, and she was not in a state of taking any decisions, and she immediately picked her phone and called to the embassy that I'm going through such a challenge, and please come and rescue me. And immediately the embassy people came for her rescue.
Okay, I'll go next. I am Sujata. I call for help, and people are coming. Suddenly, I'm hearing some siren wailing up, and they are announcing that there is being a murder that happened in the restroom. Okay.
Stop, Baba, stop. Okay. Who's the next?
Who wants to go next? So anyone on YouTube would want to go next? Who wants to add something to this? Or
so they have made me murderer or something.
Not yet. Not yet.
There's a plot
That's a
twist
fine
here.
story. Okay, I see Sujata at the airport, and I have also seen Shaina at the airport, and now it's time that you all see me at the airport. And I am loaded with bags and bags of food items that my nani and my dadi and everybody have given me. They've given me laddus and papads and achars and chilies, and not just that, I also have tawa and chammach and kadai. My bag is loaded with stuff just because I'm going to a hostel to study. And I get stopped at the airport, and the guys are telling me, "Aap ghar basane ja rahe ho, saman leke aaye ho." And I can see Iban from very, very far looking at me and laughing away. Now, Iban, over to you.
Yeah,
so I'll be like, what are you going to do with these stuff? So please give some of those stuffs to me, and then I'll take it home. So yeah. And then after that, when I was going home, and then I saw Sushil on the way asking some of the stuffs, saying that you please give some to me so that I can also take it home. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Ganesh want to add in this, like when
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So when I saw Lovina and Ivan in that day, so whatever the stuffs Lovina is having, I take my mobile, I take some shots, and I put in Olex.
That was nice. Yes, Sushil, you want to go now?
Again, I think Neeta is left. Then again, let's complete the round.
Yes, Neeta.
No, you guys continue. I'm enjoying this.
Okay.
Not thought of. No, but I'll take one. So looking at Lovina, it is so inspiring that, Lovina can cook. Nice stuff she has. So I'm also now charged up. I'll also help her to cook, and we stay together and enjoy the food.
Yeah.
And I'd be the CISF guy at the airport, and I'm like, कौन है ये औरत लोग, आज क्या दिन देखने मिल रहा है, किसका मुंह देख के उठा हो, बोला कोई घर बसाने जा रहा है, कोई इमरजेंसी लैंप से स्मगलिंग कर रहा है, एक आंटी जा रही है जिसको कुछ पता नहीं है ट्रैवलिंग के बारे में, कैसा दिन देखना पड़ता है, किसका मुंह देख के उठ गया आज.
Okay.
And
So after that, let me conclude. After that, the airport authority thought of conducting a training, an awareness program for all the passengers who, keep traveling or who've never traveled, so that they know what are the norms to be followed.
After
the
that,
rules and regulations.
After that,
So
there
that's
was, yeah.
the ending.
Yeah, no, it can go on. After that, the airport authority set a committee to fix the policies for carrying the luggage, and then after.
So then we'll have a part 2 story later.
Part 2 story, yeah.
This continues, they found out EduBridge is the very good training institute. They come and hire trainers here. They make them take the sessions for the passengers there.
Give her an award, someone. Give her an award.
It's a very happy ending.
Very happy.
That is really nice, Janati. Good one. That's a great thing.
So picture baki hai in the forthcoming.
Yeah.
Then the next sequel of this would be EduBridge training all the putting out a course, creating a course on how to behave at the airport. And
Oh my God.
That was fun, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope everyone on YouTube enjoyed this.
Absolutely.
We did, yeah.
To share your views on it.
Can we do one more? Do we have time to do one more such activity? We can pick up on what Kuldeep has written as a story. This is, let's say, part 2, okay? Season 2 of the Airport Diaries. Yeah. So Kuldeep says that, and now we have to add, okay? All of us have to add to this story. So I'm going to start and then pick on that, and each one adds their little piece. But let's
You can throw it to someone.
Okay? We'll keep
You
it
can
short.
throw that story to someone.
Kuldeep says, I went to Chandigarh with our team to play handball. And at that time, there was a lot of checking going on, okay? And I was getting checked by guard after guard after guard. And guess what? At the end, they found a matchbox in my bag. And the senior authority there started scolding me. Full stop.
And Lovina, you can throw it to someone you want to.
Now, how about we have Vijay, you pick on from that. Started scolding me.
Okay.
And then?
Let me think.
Sorry?
Let me think. Just 2 minutes.
You
So,
have to add another
yes.
phase to this story.
Yeah.
And
Or
then-
So, Lovina, I would say that I will continue from that scolding. So the scolding continued and turned towards me because I was traveling along with Kuldeep, and I realized that I was suing something, and unfortunately I kept it in my makeup kit, and suddenly they realized there is some kind of a pointed stuff that they have identified, and the scolding continued with me. So Kuldeep, I am with you because this happened really. I forgot in my makeup kit, and they actually made me to remove. And then I realized, oh, I had to keep it in my drawer in cupboard, and I kept it in the makeup kit. So that's what.
Yeah, great.
So looking
That's
at
right. Anybody
Sujata, I'll
Yeah.
continue. So looking at Sujata, I realized that I have a plucker and a nail cutter that at the last moment I grabbed and kept it in my purse. Now I don't know what to do. Should I hide? Should I remove it and throw it in the dustbin? So I'm just stuck.
I will continue from here. So same thing happened with me when I looked at these guys. They were struggling with the security guys. I suddenly realized that I have a small scissor in my laptop bag and I'm carrying that too. So what should I do now?
Looking at all of this happening with so many people, Kuldeep and Sujata and Shaina and Nita, I was blown away with excitement, and I went and hugged the security guard and said, I am so happy you all are doing such a fantastic job at checking everybody. And the guy just smiled and he was like, first he got a little embarrassed that a woman was hugging him. And then he just got excited that I actually went to say thank you. And he said, oh man, ये तो हमारा काम है, ये तो हमारा काम है, हमारे को secure, आपको secure रखना तो हमारा काम है, ये सब देश के लिए है. And then, anyone wants to add? Or this is the end of the story?
And then the security guy was so happy looking at Lovina and the way she reacted. He said, chalo, chalo, jao, jao. Next time se dhyan rakhna.
Kuldeep wants to add over here. So he says that even, even after Sujata was caught, Shaina, I was caught, Neeta, we got caught, Lavina didn't get, she did have something. But the only person who got punished was Kuldeep.
Yes.
Someone wants to add something to that, or do we conclude it with a moral that never be the first one to make a mistake?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. That was great, guys. Thank you so much for participating. Thank you so much for sharing your ideas. It was great fun. Okay. So with that, having said that, having constructed our beautiful stories, okay, impromptu stories that we just did out of our experiences, what is the story all about? Okay, the basic art of storytelling is invoking a lot of emotions in us. Okay, there are hormones that get secreted in our body that make us feel alive, make us feel happy, make us feel alarmed, make us anxious. Okay, so storytelling is that. What does the story need to be enticing, to be made exciting? It needs a concept. Okay, you need to tell people about about an incident where there was a situation that you were in. Okay, you could remember characters from that incident, about who was there along with you. Okay, there are certain things or certain memories about that particular incident and what basically transpired into it and how that story ended, right? So that's how basically a story has to be constructed, but ensure that we do not overcomplicate it. Okay, when you're saying a story, especially when you're in a corporate environment, when a trainer narrates an incident, in a review, someone wants to start out with a story, ensure that we keep it simple. The basic is keep it simple, have a plot to it, have a beginning, a middle, and the end, right? Ensure that there's some sort of a message that you're trying to give through the story. Okay, be genuine, speak with your heart, try to put in as many personal experiences and try not to create something out of the blue. Try to narrate, try to match it with an incident that happened in your life, and then just ensure that it is relevant to them. Don't say a story just for the sake of it, don't narrate a story just for the sake of it, but keep it relevant. Ensure that it matches to the moment that you are in at that point in time. Okay, that's basically the art of storytelling. Okay, so that
I have a question here, Ganesh. So
yes,
story, and since you touched upon message in the story, right? Some stories can have a message in the story itself. Some will not necessarily have it, right? Like just to fill in the gaps or kill the silence. We do communicate stories, right? So which one is more relevant in corporate? And if I have to say a story without a message, then what is the best practice to do it?
I think both are relevant.
There are so when we say that a story does not have a message, okay, there could be two reasons for it. One, it could be it's probably something that you just created out of the blue, just created out of the top of your head. Okay, however, subconsciously every story will have some sort of a message that you're trying to communicate. It might not be a moral of a story, it might not be something inspiring, but it could be just something that you can pick up on. Like if we speak about this incident that we just narrated, we just constructed a story about a scene at an airport. Okay, what was the message that went out through that? One is ensure that you follow the rules at the airport, ensure that you're not carrying something that could be dangerous to people, right? So that is something that we did not intend that to be a message, right? But a message still percolated out of that story. What we did was, though, we concluded it in a manner which ensured that, which told us that Then the airport authorities tried to fix this problem by sending out a message or sending out awareness programs to travelers or to frequent travelers about how to travel safely. So even when we're not trying to pass on a message, we are still giving some sort of a message, right? And what you can also do is to break the gap, or if there is a lot of dead air, okay, where people are not speaking, people are not conversing, you can use humor. And humor is something that will definitely bridge the gap. Yes. Would someone want to add to that, Lavina, Sujata? Someone?
Yeah, so Janani, every story will always have a message. Even if you were to say just one line, it will always have a message, because every story will always have a character and a theme. Yes. So it will always have a message. So in terms of your question about what should we use at the workplace, my very simple theory to that is there is no rule.
Yeah.
Why do we treat a workplace differently? Being at the workplace is a part of our life. The story is our life, correct? So why does there have to be a different way of communicating at work versus a different way of communicating when I'm not in office? We are what we are. And so we communicate exactly who we are. There is no way that you can play a character all the time. There is never going to be a way in which you can play a character all the time. That means this is who you are. Every time you talk, this is how you're going to talk, and this is how you're going to communicate. So what should you use at a workplace? Instead of that, I would say, what should we normally use in communicating? And one of the simplest things that I normally say in most of the training sessions that I do is, guys, kiss it. Don't kill it. That is, you keep it short and simple. You do not keep it long and lengthy. So kiss and kill. What do you prefer? Obviously a kiss than a kill, right? And so if you have to keep it short and simple, how do you do it? You make simple and short sentences. Don't use big words. Don't use flowery words. Don't use words from dictionary. Why? Because you would never use that in a story. Did we, when we were talking about the airport, did we use any dictionary, difficult, big, definitive words? We didn't. If you notice, all of us use very, very simple things. Check Kuldeep's story in the chat, or check Darshana's story in the chat. You will not see any word that you will not understand. These are words that you use every day. Then that means storytelling is so easy that we do it every day, and we use daily words to do it. And so expressing cannot be that difficult. You understand, Janani? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Thank you so much for asking that question, Janani. I think it made us think about how we should place a story. And thank you so much, Lavina, for that answer. I think, like Lavina said, there should be no rule, or there should be no differentiation about how we narrate a story or how we treat our work lives. While there should be certain filters to it, but there should be no explicit differentiation between our work life and our personal lives, or how we narrate incidents there. Sushil, you want to add something to that?
I think Janani's question is coming from one thought, that if the art of storytelling has the ability to visualize in the mind of a listener, if the storyteller is not able to visualize, probably that meaning will not come out. So sometimes story go in vain when you are not able to visualize in the mind of listener. So probably that may happen, the story come out without meaning, but probably it's a
we can take even movie examples as well here. We saw some movies, end of the day, what was the storyline of the movie? We don't know the answer, right? There are still movies like that. I don't know.
They fail to visualize in our minds what
we do visualize it. We do visualize it scene by scene, but the end of the movie, you come out of the theater, someone asks you, what is the storyline of the movie? We don't have an answer. It's like there is someone dancing, fighting. What's the story movie line? We don't know it, right? So I was, asking on that perspective. But yeah, I got my answer from Ravina, so I'm sorted here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Even there is a story. You don't remember the story. That's because the characters were so complicated. The storyline was so complicated that you don't remember the story. And so when you want to explain the story, you're going to tell the opposite person, listen, that movie was a little complicated. The characters were a little complicated. I couldn't understand why somebody did what. And so you watch it at your own risk. There you go. Story.
Yeah.
Right? You're
I
using
agree.
So
it.
Lavina, there is a learning out of it, because see, I know
Exactly.
that this is complicated. So hence, when I'm telling a story to someone else or communicating with someone else, I need not have to be too complicated, right? I can
Exactly.
use some simple words and simple characters
Exactly.
and speak
Right?
to others.
So like Lavina mentioned it, and Sujata mentioned it, we do not have to complicate things. There is a learning that you still get out of a bad movie. That is, do not overcomplicate things. Keep it short, keep it simple. Ensure that it engages with the audience. It is relevant to the audience, right? So that's why I said you speak with your heart. Whenever you're narrating an incident, you can go and narrate an incident about a bad movie. But when you speak with heart, your people would be able to narrate, they will be able to relate to it because you're speaking from your heart with a personal experience. Get my point? Yes, Janani, with me?
Yes. Very well. Yeah.
So
Probably Ganesh, she's talking about Govinda's movies, where you don't apply the logic.
I
in
don't
everything.
see Bollywood. I haven't
No,
seen
no,
all Bollywood movies.
Just kidding. Okay, because you keep your head out of the theater. So that is it.
Point taken.
great. Yeah, there sometimes movies are just that, just for pure entertainment. But then there is a subtle message, a delicate message that is always sent out through that as well. Okay, it might appeal to someone, it might not. Okay, it's how you perceive or how interested you are in listening to that movie, how interesting it has been and it has captivated you. That's basically about it. So what we've seen in across this last 1.5 hours is that we are all storytellers. Okay, we do not have to be some old person. We do not have to be an Optimus Prime. We do not have to be an Amitabh Bachchan to narrate an incident, narrate a story, or to captivate our audience. We just have to follow a couple of basic things, okay, and we'll be good to go. And we can make every story an incident or a something that sticks to our learners and sticks to our audience, and they will remember it for the rest of their lives. Yes, having said that, we would want to end on that note. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. That was me, Ganesh, and I hope that we have you joining us more often on the series as we take you on a journey that will help you communicate better. And today, I hope that you will be a little better tomorrow on with the art of storytelling. Thank you so much for your time, guys.
Thank you, Ganesh.
Thank you, Ganesh.
Thank you.
It was great, Ganesh. Thank you so much. See you guys next week, everybody. By the way, we may just change next week to a Saturday. I'll keep you guys updated. Watch out on our YouTube. Watch out on Zoom. I will update you guys shortly. But look forward to meeting you again next week, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye so much, everyone.
Thank you so much for your time, everyone. Have a nice Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.